Hello, everybody, and welcome to Storm Reads. And today is some March new releases. So, getting this one up a little bit later than I was hoping to, but I have some middle grade and adult. I don't think I have any young adult. I'm pretty sure it's just middle grade and adult, or some of the middle grade may border on young adult, but that's what I have today for what's coming up in March that I think sound cool. Some of these are series that I have been reading, and some are just brand new to me that I think sound really cool. And I thought maybe you might think sound pretty cool. So we're just going to get into it because there's quite a few, and I'm going to try to make this not too long of a video. So let's go. Okay, so the first book that I have is The Ghost of Pandora Pickwick, and it's by Christina Wolf. And this one is a translated work because it has a translator is Ruth Amaziah Kemp. Yeah, butchering that one. Moving on. Okay, so this says summer vacation in London turns mysterious and exciting when Mia learns that her aunt's antique shop is actually a ghost placement agency and she gets training in how to cross over to the spirit world. Welcome to Pandora's Antiques, where with rarities for every occasion. Nowhere does Mia feel so at home as in her Aunt Harriet's antique shop. How wonderful that she can spend her summer vacation there, but something is wrong in the store. Things disappear as if by magic. Furniture that has just been wiped dust up again in seconds, and there is an eerie number of clatter at night. However, her aunt acts like it's completely normal. Mia, on the other hand, suspects that Harriet is hiding something from her, just like the question of who her birth parents are. And so this one's 256 pages, and it comes out March 4th, and it is from, looks like Arctics, which I have no clue who that is, but it's Arctics Publishing. But I thought it sounded kind of cool. And the next one I have is from the Goosebumps House of Shivers series. It's number 4. And this is a series that I'm a little hit or miss with. I will say that when it comes to R.L. Stine, he's not very good, at least to me, on sticking the endings very well. So I'm always a little hit or miss when it comes to Goosebumps. But I've read the first 3 in this series, and like I like the first one. On the second one, the third one was decent. So hopefully this fourth one will be good. Say My Name by R.L. Stine says something fishy is going on. What happened when a talking fish, a runaway dog, and a herd of hog-like creatures descend on the woods behind Cody Brockman's house? An absolute nightmare. His friend Sam wants to stay inside and play video games all day, but Cody insists that they go wading in the creek. What starts as a fun morning in the water quickly turns into the scariest day the two friends have ever experienced. If Cody can't figure out why everything's going wrong, he's worried he won't live to swim another day. That is the craziest looking fish on that cover I have ever seen, and I'm really curious about it. And this one is 160 pages, and it comes out March the 4th by Scholastic Press. So this is another one that I've been reading, and this is the 3rd book in the Steve L. McEvil series by Lucas Turnblum, and this is a graphic novel series. So if you have middle graders who love graphic novels, I definitely would suggest this one. And we have Steve L. McEvil and the Twisted Sister, and I'm just going to read this part here because I don't really want to spoil anything since it is a 3rd book. But it says when a 12-year-old supervillain wannabe and his friends get stranded on a desolate planet, it's up to his younger sister to bring them back to prevent a dangerous intergalactic threat. That is, if she decides to help. And yeah, so Steve L. McEvil thinks that he is a super villain, so that's why it's a wannabe, because he always ends up helping his friends who are more on the superhero side. And so he wants to be a supervillain, but he also wants the girl who wants to do everything the right way. So, and then his sister is really what I would say the true villain of the family. But yeah, it's cute. And this one is 256 pages. It comes out March 11th, and it is by Crown Books for Young Readers. And so the next one we have is Gage Black and the Void Dragon by Britt Asher. This one, to me, I think borderlines on middle grade and young adult. The kid on that cover, I don't think you can see him very well, but he looks a little bit more like he's about 13 or 14 than he does middle grade. But that happens with middle grade sometimes. They are kind of into the teenage years a little bit. And so this one says the Ranger's Apprentice meets Aragon. And so I'm curious about that. And the one thing I hesitate about this one is the fact that it says it's a fast-paced high fantasy with magic, adventure, and minimal romance. Because if it's going to be billed as middle grade, because I found this on NetGalley as middle grade, there should be no romance. So that's why I'm like, I think this one is bordering on young adult a little bit, but I still don't want romance. But if it's going to be billed for middle grade, there needs to be no romance. But it says Gage Black destroys everything around him. Plants wither, elementals die, and humans lose their magic just by being near him. He's already an outcast, and his situation only worsens when he accidentally summons a void dragon, a creature known for annihilating worlds. To control his dark power, Gage is sent to a military academy where magic users train for war. His peers fear and loathe him, branding him dangerous and evil, but Gage is determined to prove them wrong, and when an invading army threatens the kingdom, his lethal magic might be the only force strong enough to stop them. Of course. So, I mean, it sounds like your typical middle grade fantasy in that way that, he's got this dangerous power, and so he's dubbed dangerous, but he wants to prove that he's good. And of course, his magic's going to be the only thing that can stop him. But I would still read it. And it's 402 pages. It comes out March 11th. And this one comes out from, I don't know, it doesn't say. And this one, I think they were trying to be funny with the title, but I just don't think it works. So we have, I Know What You UFO Did Last Summer. It just does not roll off the tongue very well. By Kevin Garin. I probably butchered that. But we have Stranger Things meets The Last Kids on Earth. And I love Stranger Things, and I like Last Kids on Earth, and so I'm very curious about this one. But we have the alien invasion is upon us. At least that's what 12-year-old Marv thinks when a mysterious craft appears in the wood behind his house. If there's one thing he's learned from his trusty alien invasion guidebook, is that ETs are just as likely to land in your backyard as they are in front lawn of the White House. A plot to take over the planet is the only logical explanation for what's going on. Why else would a suited pilot chase Marv and his friends through the woods? What else could explain the creepy leech-like creatures attached to the hull of the ship? And if that wasn't enough, the recently moved-in next-door neighbor girl and her dad seem to be directly connected to the alien conspiracy. The National Guards won't take his call seriously. His family thinks he's making everything up. Marv and his friends are on their own if they want to stop the invaders from Pluto. Unless the mysterious red pickup truck that keeps driving by is somehow involved in all this too. But Marv is wrong. The threat is real, but the aliens aren't. And getting mixed up with the wrong people might still result in an abduction. So, kind of curious to see what's going to happen with that one. And poor little Marv. This is 172 pages, and it comes out March 11th, and this one is from Tremor Press. It sounds good. I'm just not a fan of the title. So the next one I have is I Witnessed the Lizzie Borden Story. It's by Jeremy Kratz. I think I'm pronouncing that right, and Crystal Jamie, who's the illustrator. It is a graphic novel for middle graders. It's historical fiction. And it says Charlie witnessed a murder at his next door neighbor Lizzie Borden's house. But will anyone believe what he saw? For fans of I Survived and Nathan Hale's hazardous tales, but with a true crime twist. Read about Lizzie Borden's trial of the century in this eyewitness graphic novel. I'm a little curious about this. I've always been curious about Lizzie Borden and everything, and I'm guessing that maybe this is going to be like a new series of graphic novels with a true crime lean, maybe because they're going to be titled Eyewitness. I don't know, but this one is 208 pages and it comes out March 18th, and it's by Harper Alley. The next one is My Mummy versus Your Ghost by Paul Tobin. This is versus number 2. Now, y'all might have heard me talking about the first one, which was My Vampire versus Your Werewolf last year, and I wasn't very impressed with it. But I do want to give the second one a try. Now that I've got that one, and I kind of know a little bit more about of what it's about and everything, I want to give the second one a try. But I don't know, they just felt a little bit like they were written a little bit more adult than middle grade. I don't know, because it wasn't just me, because my friend felt the same way because we buddy read it, and we both didn't really care for it too much. But I do want to give the second one a try. And so it says, we found out in the first book, in the Versus universe, what happens when a vampire goes against a werewolf, and now we'll see who comes out on top when it's My Mummy versus Your Ghost. Seasoned trainers Hayden and Gabe return to the battlefield with Ancient Mummy ready to bring the heat. But the cold can burn just as bad. But new coaches Lily and Amos have a century-old ghost with the power to freeze anyone out of a win. It's the undead going head-to-head, but who will end up with a win of their afterlife? My Mummy versus Your Ghost is a second book in the epic horror series, which I think that's kind of a lie. I don't really think it's an epic horror story. Even for middle graders, I don't think it's an epic horror story. The ending of the first one was probably like the best part of the whole thing. But it just feels a little unrealistic because I don't know what parent would let their middle grader control a scary creature that could harm them if they didn't have these little medallions that kept them at bay. I just don't get it. And so we'll see. But anyway, it comes out it's 208 pages. It comes out March 25th and everything. And this one's from Bloomsbury Children's Books. I didn't put this one on my NetGalley. I didn't ask for this one. I figured this was going to be one. Since I didn't really care for the first one too much, I thought I would wait and just get this one from Libby to see if I like it. And maybe I can get an audiobook or something. But we'll see. And the last middle grade I have is The Witch in the Woods. It's Serial Chillers #1. I don't know why they have to put that giant title up here like that. It makes no sense to me. But anyway, it says, welcome to Hazard, the ordinary town where strangeness is a way of life. The town where sinkholes appear with no warning, where people go missing way too often, and where things really do go bump in the night. To Travis and his classmate, Hazard is home, but when they're set a school project to investigate the history of the town, they soon realize that something strange and alien lies beneath Hazard. What can they learn from their investigation into the mysterious witch in the woods? And if the witch really does exist, will they make it home to tell the tale? I don't know, but I'm very curious to find out. I would say Jennifer Killick is my second favorite middle grade horror author. Lindsay Curry still being my favorite. But I absolutely do love things that I've read from Jennifer Killick, so I can't wait to try this one. It's 256 pages, comes out March 27th, and it is from Farshore. Okay, so we're moving from middle grade to adult, and so the first one I have is The Thorns by Dawn I cannot pronounce the lady's last name. I've read this author before, but it's usually young adult. But this one says adult. So says in a hauntingly twisted tale, an author reconnects with an old boarding school friend, forcing her to reckon with their shared past and the imaginary creature she thought they left behind. That's kind of interesting. Touch a line, break your spine. Stacy is the dusty air, the cracked soil, the drought. To 14-year-old Bethany Salone, she's everything. Abandoned by her mother at a remote African boarding school, Bethany will do anything to stay in Stacy's good graces, and that means learning the rules of each twisted game. Touch a crack, you'll break your back. 17 years later, Bethany is the best selling author. Disabled now, she can't remember what happened back in the bush. But there's no mistaking Stacy Preston's name in her inbox. Glassy, cut my RC? I get that doesn't really make sense to me, but okay. The email brings Bethany's childhood rushing back. The glass man was just a story the Thorns invented, a game of wits. But every game has its rules and consequences for breaking them. She stayed alive this round. Bethany needs to stay alive this round. Bethany needs to play right into Stacy's hand. Dark and disturbing, the Thorn explores the horrifying world of adolescent abuse, controlling friendships, and blind obsession. So it's a horror thriller, and it sounds interesting. Now, I put these on here because I think other people might enjoy them a lot more than me. I think it sounds interesting, and I thought maybe other people might, but it's definitely not high priority or anything. But it's 395 pages, and it comes out March 4th, and this one is from Thomas and Mercer. So the next one I have is You Shouldn't Have Done That by Liz Alterman. And this one I believe is a thriller? Maybe. Well, it says mystery, so we'll see. Best friends make the deadliest enemies. Jane Whitaker and Ivy Chapman have been best friends for 20 years, ever since their sons Cal and Brad attended the same preschool. But their close bond is severely tested when their now adult sons go skiing together in Wyoming and only one returns. Where is Cal Whitaker, and why didn't Brad Chapman report him missing? With growing fears for Cal's safety, his family begins to suspect Brad knows a lot more than he's saying. Friendships turn to suspicions, then to open hostility when Cal's sister Emerson posts an online appeal that ignites a vicious crusade against Brad. As decades-old loyalties crumble, Jane and Ivy find themselves on opposite sides of a deadly divide. How far will each mother go to protect their family? And what happens when saving one son means destroying the other? You Shouldn't Have Done That is a gripping psychological thriller perfect for fans of Lisa Jewell and Leanne Moriarty and Sally Hepworth. I thought it was a thriller. I don't know why the genre on here just says mystery. I knew I was right. And so this one comes out March 23rd, and it's from Incubator Books. And so I had to put this one on here because if I do have an anticipated book, it would be this one. And so this is Cat Got Your Killer by Sophie Ryan, and it's the 12th book in the Second Chance Cat Mysteries. So I won't read a whole lot about it, but it says Sarah Grayson, a secondhand store owner, and her clever rescue cat Elvis are right on the tail of a criminal in a charming new Second Chance Cat Mystery. Summer is around the corner, and Sarah is making sure the store is stocked and ready for tourist season. So we all know that something bad is going to happen. With the weather heating up, Sarah gets involved in a case that is decidedly cold when a man who was linked to drowning death years ago is found dead himself on the same stretch of beach. Some of Sarah's friends from the store knew the victim and the young woman who drowned very well and are concerned they could be dragged into the case. So she's going to have to figure it out. This story or this series has a group of older private investigator types, and they're called the Charlotte's Angels, and I love them dearly. They are so fun, and Sarah gets dragged into everything that they're doing, so it's a lot of fun. And okay, so this one here sounds really good, but it is a spin-off from what I found of another series. And so if anybody knows me, I will have to go and read the other series first. The other series is the Penny Green series by this author. And so evidently Penny Green is in this series too. So of course I have to check out the other series, which I don't remember what the other series is right off the bat. But in case you're not like me, this is the first book in a new series, and it's the Whitechapel Widow. It is an Emma Langley Victorian mystery, and it is by Emily Organ. And so it says, London Hutch the Ripper, a widow hunts her husband's killer. London, 1888. While Jack the Ripper's reign of terror grips the city, Emma Langley's world shatters when her husband is found murdered in Whitechapel. But grief is quickly overshadowed by the news of William Langley was not the man she thought she knew. As panic fills London streets, Emma delves into her husband's secret life, uncovering a web of lies that stretch from glittering society drawing rooms to the seedy gambling dens of the East End. Aided by Penny Green, a former reporter with a nose for trouble, Emma follows a trail of blackmail and corruption. But exposing her husband's killer could make her the next victim. In the shadows of gaslight streets, a murderer waits, ready to strike again. And sounds really, really good. But I need to read the other series first. Or I need to at least figure out who Penny Green is, because that's just me. That is just me. But it's 420 pages, which is quite long for a mystery. And it comes out March 27th, and it's from Storm Publishing. I knew there was a reason I liked it. Storm Publishing. Okay, so this next one is A Secret Detective Agency by Helena Dixon, and it is the Secret Detective Agency Book 1. And so it says, meet Miss Jane Treen, a coffee-drinking cat lover, dressed head to toe in tweed, who just happens to be a secret super sleuth. London, 1941. Miss Jane Treen is at her desk, strong black coffee in hand, and a fluffy ginger cat by her side, when her top secret government work is interrupted by an urgent call to Devon. A woman has just been found dead in a lake in a place where she shouldn't have been. Jane needs to gather the clues and find the killer before someone else from the agency gets hurt. Shy and handsome codebreaker Arthur Salento is bewildered by the arrival of the efficient Miss Treen and her cat Marmaduke. Okay. Cat Marmaduke. Okay. She bursts into his life unexpectedly, forcing him out of his comfort zone. The reluctant colleague huddles near the warmth of a crackling fire in Arthur's country home, working to piece together the murderous puzzle at hand. In the sleepy Devon village, someone is hiding something. But is it the busybody vicar and his sister, the dutiful housekeeper, and her secretive son, the stern librarian, or someone else altogether? And who were the people with the woman in the lake on the day she died? No sooner has Arthur and Jane have drawn up a list of suspects that a parcel reveals a clue that sends them in hot pursuit of a coded diary stashed in the village church. But as the heavy wooden door slams behind them and the keys turned in the lock, the one thing is they need to unravel the truth and crack the code before the killer decides their number is up. And I must say that I got this one on NetGalley. I caved. I've been doing really good not getting NetGalleys. But it sounded fun. And this one is from Bookouture. And it comes out March 27th. It's 316 pages, and it sounded like a lot of fun. And so I'm hoping it's going to be a lot of fun. And it says if you love twisty crime novels, top secret intrigue, and the very best Golden Age mysteries, then you will adore Helena Dixon. And I've not tried her, but I have heard of her. And I thought this was a good time to try her because it's #1 in the series. So, hopefully. Okay, so the next one I have is called I Remember You by Theo Baxter. And this one says The Perfect Life or the Perfect Lie. 2 years ago, Aria West woke up in a hospital with a severe head injury and no recollection of her previous life. Now she's a successful sculptor living in a remote cabin in upstate New York with her husband, Austin. Despite everything that's happened, she's living a good life, a peaceful life, except for the reoccurring nightmare, terrifying fragments of the trauma that led to her memory loss, fragments that do not match Austin's account of the fateful day. As her behavior grows increasingly erratic, Aria becomes convinced her husband is hiding something sinister. To feel safe in the future, she knows she has to uncover the truth about the past. But getting her memory back won't be easy, especially when someone will do anything to stop that from happening. So, got a psychological thriller. Sounds kind of interesting. Sounds like something y'all would like. So, and I don't know. I'm kind of curious the amnesia thing. It's kind of an interesting thing. I don't know. And this one comes out March 30th, and it's from Incubator Books. And the very last one I have is a time travel mystery. So we have Murder on the Steel Pier, a Tess Mancini time travel mystery by Rosie Genova. As far as I could see, this looked like it was the first book in the series, so don't hold me to it, but I think so. Anyway, it says, Greeting from the Nifty 50s. The morning after a blowout birthday celebration in Atlantic City, crime reporter and party girl Tess Mancini, I know I'm not saying that right, we're just going to call her Tess, wakes up in an unfamiliar place. 1955. Well, how on earth did she get there? Bread is 18 cents a loaf. Ike occupies the White House, and the boardwalk is crawling with vintage cars and vintage wise guys. A bewildered Tess is sure of only two things. One, she's not crazy, and two, the clothes are fabulous. Somehow, she's living the life of her great aunt Teresa, who disappeared decades before Tess's birth. In her 1950s existence, Tess is a reporter at a local newspaper, living at a boarding house owned by Zaya Antonetta, an Italian immigrant with a big secret. It turns out Teresa has a kid brother, a teenage troublemaker, Val. Yeah, we're not even trying that last name. AKA Tessa's paternal grandfather. Though determined to return to her own time, Tessa's curiosity takes over. What happened to the first Teresa? And is Tessa's trip through time connected to her aunt's fate? But when young Val is accused of murdering boarding house guests, a Nazi in hiding, Tess ends up with 2 investigations on her hand and is now stuck in time until she can prove Val's innocence. As she searches for answers, she finds allies in a dishy police detective and a suspiciously charming fellow reporter. The clock is ticking for Tess to find a way home, but first she has to keep her grandfather off death row. Because before Tess can get back to the future, she needs to make sure she has one. I don't know, it sounds kind of fun. I know I'm not like a huge time travel person, but, time travel into the 1950s, trying to solve a murder there, sounds kind of interesting. And so this one has 321 pages, comes out March 31st, and it is from Two Roses Books. And there you have it. That's everything I have. So I think there is a fun variety of books that looks like going to be coming out in March. I know there were a ton of books from March that I didn't even get on my radar. Other people have probably did some March new releases for a ton more books, but these are ones that I thought sounded kind of fun. And I always have to do my middle grade ones, which I found quite a few of, which I was happy because like last month it was a little low on the middle grade, which was kind of a bummer. Anyway, so let me know if you're interested in any of the books that I talked about. And I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye.